1090 Jake is definitely feeling the pressure right now. Bro went from being the Osama bin Laden of rap snitch YouTube to slowly having the walls of his pudgy empire closing in on him. Once one of the forefathers of this online era of publicly exposing rappers for giving statements to police officers, 1090 Jake just got seriously exposed for doing the same behavior that he preaches against. Multiple times within the last year, legitimate paperwork has surfaced on him and left a crazy stain on his content reputation. With this most recent snitching allegation clearly putting major pressure on him, from lawyers calling him out to his hypocrisy, to even his fans harassing him to the point that he had to turn off comments on his IG post. We have to talk about the astronomical rise and the eventual crushing downfall of 1090 Jake, the head honcho of snitching, man. We're gonna tap in right now. Before we do, I'm gonna need you to like, comment, subscribe. We're gonna run to this video, man. Make sure y'all check out the merch link in the description at staysafeworld.com. You already know what's going on, and tap in the notification gang so whenever I post, y'all tune in right away, man. So we gotta get into chapter 1, how it all started. Jacob Cherry, or 1090 Jake as many known him as on the internet, is a YouTube personality who blew up around the start of the pandemic era. He says most of his life was spent between Boston and Tampa, Florida. With little ambitions at the time, he eventually got kicked out of several family houses as a jit and eventually hopped off the porch into the Tampa street scene. Being arrested several times as a juvenile eventually led him to getting serious time for having a stolen firearm. It was at this time where he spent a large bulk of his life in the system, which later allowed him to storytell and give insight on another side of life that people don't really even know exists: the prison life. After returning to normal life, getting fired for selling weed out of a smoke shop, he soon went viral for a now infamous video of him detailing the prison contraband system to a news reporter.
No on the night team, drugs, weapons, and cell phones inside Florida prisons.
Videos secretly recorded by inmates themselves expose the ongoing contraband crisis behind bars.
How easy is it to get drugs in a Florida prison?
Every single compound I hit, there was all types of drugs on there, whether it's prescription pills, Molly, some spots there was cocaine and meth, but nothing more common than K2.
Jacob Cherry, a former inmate, posted the videos to YouTube.
1, 2, 3.
Officers are diligent when they search inmates, but sometimes it's the officers bringing the drugs and cell phones inside.
The majority of the drugs that I know of that are coming inside is through the guards. When you're not really making any money and a $30 phone on the street turns into a $1,200 phone inside a prison, a lot of people are gonna do it.
He gave in-depth details about corrections officers colluding with prisons, basically in a pay-for-play bargaining system, and it blew up on the internet. At this time, he went and started a YouTube channel where he would detail more of his often graphic and disturbing prison stories. Eventually, he began branching out to posting shocking content of regular civilians and giving his take on the incidents. At this time, he began growing exponentially and gaining a huge YouTube fan base while making hundreds of thousands of dollars from his bedroom. But then, just as things were looking up, he decided to take his content even further, which might be the fastest way to the bottom for his career. After several years of posting about crazy news stories, 1090 Jake began moving into more rap commentary. He began posting stories involving rappers and hip-hop and giving details to major tragic events. He began getting even bigger and in tune with hip-hop media and slowly accepted by mainstream hip-hop platforms like No Jumper and DJ Academics, but this was the beginning of the end. Eventually, he began uploading content that detailed the inner workings of many rappers' cases, which eventually led to him calling out artists for snitching, beginning first with Spot 'em Got 'em. Allegations where 1090 Jake explained how Spot 'em was a snitch for almost getting his two best friends extensive jail time. It was at this point that, without even realizing it, he essentially became his own enemy because those videos began exploding. He continued dropping videos, these type of videos, as they were getting the most type of views out of any of his content. He slowly began taking rappers out one paperwork incident at a time. He went from Spot 'em Got 'em to targeting Boston Richey. The main difference between Spot 'em Got 'em and Boston Richey was they were at different points in their career. Boston Richey, on one hand, was on the come up, about to break through, just when 1090 Jake came and basically nosedived his career. And Spot 'em Got 'em was basically at the tail end of his career and no one really cared. From there, he basically went from Boston Richey to Rollo to exposing the QC founder, QCP, to members of YSL like Young Thug's brother Unfolk. And he was basically riding high until these shocking accusations made their way to the internet about him. The first accusation that hit the internet was the now infamous incident that came out where 1090 Jake supposedly gave information to the police about a shooting that occurred in his old neighborhood in Tampa. This situation was such blatant snitching that Kodak Black's lawyer even came out and said, how is this man gonna call out other people for snitching when he has done the same thing that he reports on? On March 23rd, 2012, 2 people reportedly shot into 1090 Jake's window/house. Police said the 2 individuals were able to be apprehended based off the description that was given to them by Jacob Cherry. Their names were redacted due to the fact that they were minors at the time. However, regardless of the results in this case, it seems that 1090 Jake giving statements to the police that result in people getting arrested are by his own definition of snitching basically. The crazy thing about him is the fact that his snitch occasions are essentially straddling the line between not snitching and snitching. He does give police information but hides under the guise that, oh, they didn't get in trouble. But at the same time, he doesn't have this type of energy for any of the people that he reports on. But by now, you've probably heard about the biggest snitching incident that seems like it's actually affecting him. Before this incident, he was able to sort of reason his way out of getting accused of being a snitch and still remain relevant. However, now it seems that the heat is catching up to him. His own homies at No Jumper posted his paperwork and it went viral. Meanwhile, he took the time to limit his comments so people wouldn't see the hate that he was getting over his most recent incident. The incident in question was none other than his prison snitching allegations that occurred when he wrote a grievance to his warden over being unfairly treated by correctional officer. The incident in question was related to corrections officers basically forcing him to give a fabricated statement by threatening to beat them up. However, the snitching part that many felt was the final nail in the coffin was the fact that he was naming another inmate in this incident and accused him of attacking him. As a normal civilian, this wouldn't really matter, but in his case, where any amount of information giving is considered treason to the streets, many people who were once his fans, for instance like King AK-47, basically said that it was bogus for him to speak out and give those types of information.
You feel me? Now you getting them going with their investigation and that leads to an arrest. But if the shit already happened and the police happened, I wouldn't say no more. Though I would play like I said, like you feel, because that is still in a way cooperating in a way though.
How do you repeal a case without saying any names?
Seems like the constant theme with 1090 Jake is he basically does the stuff that he reports on, but he basically tries to reason himself out of it, say that, oh, that wasn't snitching, that wasn't talking, that wasn't giving any type of information. But he's still continuously caught up in these scenarios. I wouldn't be surprised if another one comes out. But it's definitely affected him because whenever these sort of instances happen, he sort of takes a break. And for this latest incident, I've seen the most amount of hate that he has. Pretty much everyone has labeled him a snitch that were his street followers. A lot of people that were rocking with him, as he say, are no longer rocking with him. Obviously, he's still gonna get lots of views because he has a big YouTube channel, but it definitely makes people think twice. Basically, the content that he's promoting is basically coming from someone that doesn't even live the stuff that they're following and live the stuff that they're reporting at all. And that's the crazy thing about it. But at the end of the day, I feel like people need to realize that this is some sort of character. Like, this isn't like a hard line real example of someone that's really in the streets, because all the people that are really in the streets, that really do the stuff, that really be doing drills and really be active, are either dead or in jail. So that says a lot that bro is definitely not in that scenario. And obviously he was in jail for that long, but at the end of the day, he's no longer that. He's more of a content creator rather than a street personality right now. And content creators are basically characters. You know, he plays his character of being the head snitch detective, when in reality he has the most evidence against him, because I haven't seen any of these other rappers have multiple allegations over a short period of time, maybe 1 or 2 or 3. But it's just crazy, man, that these fans and everyone was basically following this guy to the ends of the earth, but it turns out that he's exactly what he was pointing other people out to be, man. But let me know in the comments what y'all think about this whole scenario. Do you think that he's a snitch? Do you think it's a misunderstanding? Do you think that people are still going to be watching his content the same way? Personally, I feel like he's going to have to pivot and do a different type of content, which he kind of was doing, but then he went back to the snitch content because people were asking him to. But in the end, it's going to be detrimental to his channel if he keeps going this way, because people are going to be labeling him a snitch. So maybe he should just go back to what he was doing before. Obviously, it's not as glitzy and glamorous and not getting as many views, but you know, continuing down this path is probably just going to end up in bad scenarios, man. But hey, let me know in the comments what y'all think. Real stay shit. You already know what's going on. Like, comment, subscribe, man. Peace.